Oh, hey! Be sure to like and subscribe and follow us on all our social media. Links in the description down below.
It's nice to see you guys. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to Jockstrap Nerd Chat, the only show that brings sports and nerd culture into one cohesive unit. Possibly. We can't really back that up, but I'm not going to say no. I am your
best friend, Justin.
I was going to say host, but we're all hosts. To my right, we have Chris Berrigan. How you doing today?
Pretty fantastic till you botched that one.
Nah, don't worry. I'll be able to cut it up and post it. It'll be fine. Joel, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic.
I already said that, so.
Getting very excited. Yeah, but you didn't stretch it out like I did, so you kind of sounded stupid.
You did sound stupid. That's definitely not a lie.
Ready to get into some news, especially... Well, what we're leading off with today, which is the NFL draft. And that should be happening a few hours after this one posts. So very excited for it. It's one of my favorite sporting events every year.
It's the E3 of football.
Well,
yeah, kind of.
To me, it is.
Yeah, in the sense that E3 is a big conference where all the companies get together and see what's going to be new for next year.
And this
is basically the same kind of thing.
It's kind of like... slavery, though. You're kind of just judging a bunch of black guys, see who they want.
It's not really,
Christian McCaffrey, he's white.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not really slavery when you're giving them millions of dollars after you pick them.
Yeah, in exchange for work.
Yeah, so it's a job.
So it's a job.
So this is kind of like a job then.
So Chris, all careers are slavery.
I mean, fuck, that's how I feel sometimes.
Oh, dude, I don't even want to compare shit stories at work right now.
So what are we going to do today?
We want to talk about some of the top prospects and maybe some hopes that we have for some of our favorite players and our favorite teams. And I'm always excited about this every year because I always thought my dream job would be as an NFL GM because it's basically fantasy football, but for real. And you get paid lots of monies to do it.
Rather than our fantasy football draft where it's $100.
Yeah. Yep. And you maybe get a big $700 prize at the end of the year, but probably not.
All right, let's take it from the top. So for number one pick, we got Myles Garrett.
Yeah, and that's
coming
basically
in
a lock.
Tall, 6'4.5". Actually, it's pretty small for a D end.
It's not bad. It's middle of the ring. But like Myles Garrett is definitely the best athlete in this draft, just all around speed, quickness, and he is just a beast off the edge. And in the NFL today, like basically there are 4 main positions that if you were ever starting a franchise off with, you would want to start with, and that's quarterback, pass rusher, cornerback, lockdown corner, and
Probably a tackle.
Yeah, left tackle. That's what I was. Yep. So those are because
movie Blindside was because that's probably the second most important position outside of quarterback. Got to protect that blind side.
Before the movie, the book, which really like the entire first half of the book was about the importance of the left tackle position in football.
unless your quarterback's a lefty.
Then it's that right tackle.
But no,
those are all Satan's children, anyways.
Yeah. But yeah, the Cleveland Browns are picking number 1, and I feel like there's just no other choice. It's like he's the top tier person, and the Browns, I mean, the only thing I can see is I think they pick number 1 and number 12 this year because of a trade they did last year.
2 opportunities to fuck up again.
Yeah, so it's either they're going to trade. I think they're either going to try and trade back out of that number 1 spot if they can get the right price for it, and then just get more picks, or they're going to just take Myles Garrett and he's the closest thing to a guarantee in this year's draft. But I think they really like Mitch Trubisky too, who's that quarterback from North Carolina.
Yeah. I was gonna say that I've seen a lot of mock drafts where they have them taking him too.
Yeah, but I think they're hoping they'll either be able to take him at 12 or that they might be able to use that 12th pick to trade back up a little bit because they have a lot of picks in this draft. And so if they could trade up into a spot where they could get him if they think somebody else might, then they might try and do that too. But
who do they have right now running the offense?
Well, last year was RG3, but I think it's Josh McCown.
Well, last year they had, I think, 6 different quarterbacks?
Didn't they start, or no? When was Menzel? Was that 2 years ago?
I think it was 2 years ago. It was last year.
Is he even playing pro football anymore?
I don't know. Somebody was trying him out not too long ago.
Yeah.
I think it was who was it, Houston maybe?
And
Who's that?
I think so. Manziel.
Manziel. Oh, I think Houston did try him. I don't think
so.
he's really trying to make any comeback at this point because no one's really giving him a chance.
He's kind of
'Cause
a
why
drug
not?
addict, so
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to play football.
Yeah. So I think Myles Garrett's pretty much a lock at number one. I like this. I like certain mock drafts have Leonard Fournette going number 2 now, and that's because there was like some reports coming out about how the San Francisco 49ers don't like Carlos Hyde as a fit for their offense long term. Plus, he's had a lot of injuries. Concerns. So
When he's healthy, he's good, but he just can't stay healthy.
yeah, so they think they're going to take Leonard Fournette out of LSU, who I think he's a beast, but
He's
he's
almost shoved somebody through the dirt.
he is a beast, but I feel like in today's NFL, I like the other 2 running backs that are out there that are probably going to be picked in the first round. Almost
big
better
son
than
of a
him.
bitch for running back.
Yeah, he's huge. He's gigantic. What is he? Yeah, 240. Yeah,
How tall is he?
6'1.5".
6 foot, so 6'6".
6 foot and 1/2 inch.
Oh, okay. See, it's very confusing.
Well, I mean, comparative to
It's not
what's
if
his
you
face
know
from
what running
Alabama
backs
last
usually
year,
are.
he's not a monster compared to him. What was his name from Alabama last year?
Bugsy.
Henry.
Henry.
Oh, I was close.
That kid's like 6'3", like 240, 250. He's a monster. Should be at the end.
Yeah, I like Leonard Fournette a lot. He runs people over, but I think the place for the bruiser back is like kind of shrinking in the NFL. It's just becoming like more like a guy like Christian McCaffrey. I feel like he's going to have great success in the NFL because he can be there like all 4 downs, really, even special teams. He'll be a kick returner.
And
punt
well,
returner.
did you see? He's been in the offseason. He's been working on being a better receiver, so you can literally put him in the slot.
Yeah,
if you need
because
to.
he's actually like listed in most. He's listed on most boards as a running back / wide receiver because he's just that versatile, and he'll probably play both positions no matter what. He might not be a starting running back or starting wide receiver, but he'll be on the field all the time. And for a guy like that,
agree.
it's like it's kind of like Tyreek Hill. I mean, Tyreek Hill for the Chiefs got drafted last year as a wide receiver, but they started putting him in the backfield and running him out of different formations as a running back, and he's the same kind of talent where he could
Just one of those weapons that you can use him anywhere.
yeah, and you have to find ways to use them anywhere. So I think right now, Leonard Fournette is who they have, but it depends on what running back that they actually fall in love with. So who knows who that is for the Niners? Because if they're looking for is Chip Kelly still their head coach?
Nope, we got let go, I think.
That's right. But if they're looking for more of a scat back type offense where they have somebody who's more versatile, they'll probably go with a McCaffrey or try and trade down to get to McCaffrey.
Get a couple picks out of it, give you with that second round.
Yeah. Who do they have at number 3 in that mock?
We got Malik Hooker going to the Bears.
Hooker.
Oh, Malik, sorry.
Yeah, the Ohio State has actually like 3 of their 4 defensive backs like mocked in the first round.
Oh yeah, because he's a safety, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a safety.
Bears could. They're kind of like a slightly less shitty Browns. They need help everywhere.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's been rough. I've been a Bears fan since I first realized who Brian Urlacher was when I was like
I loved Brian Urlacher so much.
Like I followed him throughout his time at was it New Mexico? It was New Mexico or New Mexico State. I can't remember off the top of my head. I was just drawn to Brian Urlacher, and then we went to the Bears. Like, I'm a Bears fan, and ever since he retired, I mean, even before that, it's been rough being a Bears fan.
They make it hard to like.
That's why I'm.
They did make it to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, they made it to a Super Bowl. All
Unfortunately, they had Rex Grossman at quarterback.
That
Fumble
feeling you have.
McFumbleson, you mean?
That feeling you have is how me and Joel felt being Chiefs fans for our entire lives. That makes it hard to be a fan sometimes.
Yeah. But yeah, Malik Hooker's he's kind of a run stopper of a safety, so he plays a lot in the box. I think he could be really good though.
He's probably going to be a versatile guy too. He'll probably play a lot like Eric Berry. Because he's a little bit bigger, isn't he? His like measurables, he's a little bit heavier, isn't he?
He is
For safety at least.
206, 6'1".
Fairly big safety.
Yeah, he's pretty big.
So I mean, that's one of those players that he's probably being drafted that high, not just for his because obviously he'll probably be a decent coverage, especially as a safety, but they probably have special packages where they'll have him there as like a linebacker or something sometimes, especially if he's a good run stopper.
Yeah.
It's a versatile guy to have.
Yeah, those guys are. If you can cover over the top and stuff the box, it's a great. It's an Eric Berry type that is just perfect. Like that's really hard or really something that's in demand because not a lot of people can do both.
Who we got next on number 4?
Jonathan Allen for the
I don't know a whole lot about
Jaguars.
this guy.
No,
Where is he
he's-
from the New Mexico?
He's from Alabama.
Alabama. It looked like the
He's
logo
a-
from that angle.
He's just one of those big hybrid type guys. He would play like a D end in a 3-4 or a or a D tackle in a 4-3. And yeah, he's a big, just kind of a big, strong run stuffer of a D lineman. He's not like the big pass rush guy you're gonna usually get, but he'll be
Just a big
he'll be
space
good.
eater.
Yeah, he'll be good.
But it's the Jaguars. Nobody really cares. But getting into teams that people do, start to tend to care a little bit more about. We got Tennessee Titans taking O.J. Howard.
Yeah,
I made this joke once already, but playing football, being black, and going by the initials O.J., it's got to be rough.
I
At
love
least
orange
he's
juice.
not a running back. But I'm sure he will be called the Juice when he is out there.
I wonder if he dates white blonde women.
Who is this kid? Is this the?
Probably.
Was he the one with like the really long dreads?
We'll find
He's like
out
a
in
big.
1 second.
I think he's like not like lanky, but he's a like big tall guy, isn't he?
OJ Howard's a beast. He's gigantic and he's a great blocker as well as being an incredible athlete. So that they didn't give him a lot to do at Alabama, I think. So that's why you probably haven't heard of him that much because I didn't really hear about him that much until I started looking into the draft stuff. But yeah, he's going to be drafted in.
Did he
the top
just show
10.
really well at the combine
He did. He showed incredibly well at the combine
and pro days?
But it also, like, a lot of his tape was him. They used him as a blocker a ton, but I think they just
Somebody that was
didn't
underutilized.
They didn't use his athleticism as much as they could have.
Well, that's just that SEC football, which sucks for players like this kid that probably has all the measures to be a great like pass catcher rather than just a blocker. But I mean, what does the SEC do with offense? They pound the ball and they throw the ball a few times a game.
Yeah, and OJ Howard, he's 6'5" and 3/4, so almost 6'6" and 251. He's
Not lanky, but he's like built like a Megatron almost.
Yeah, he's big. He's a big receiver, and he can block well. So he's gonna fit right in. I think they really want that kind of weapon in Tennessee, so that would be a good fit for him.
Delaney Walker did really well with him too. So
Yeah, and
I mean,
Walker's.
getting
I think Walker's gone now too.
yeah,
right?
I was gonna say I'm assuming he'd just be an immediate fill-in for them.
Yeah, exactly. So
And young.
I would love to, or any team would love to have that guy. But
Well,
I think it'd be a good
who's
pick for
Tennessee got running QB over there?
Marcus Mariota.
That's what I wanted to
broke
say.
his leg though. So
So
Those are weird.
Are they,
Those are
are they
weird
starting
couple
off
of-
with a second string? Starting off
I
the
don't know.
season?
It depends where they're at. Remember that was a weird like few weeks where it seemed like 3 quarterbacks broke their legs because Carr broke his leg, Mariota broke his leg, and I feel like someone else broke their. Oh, it was early in the season, but Bridgewater who destroyed his leg.
Yeah,
He like, hit it like a hole in the ground, destroyed his leg,
yeah, that was.
like broke it, tore his ACL and his MCL, broke the tibia and the fibia somehow. It's like, are you made out of glass?
Yeah, we'll see if he can come back.
I watched the play, by the way. That's why I made that comment. It's awesome.
It was a fantastic movie. Number 6, we got the Jets. New York Jets. Really New Jersey Jets, but that's neither here nor there. Jamal Adams, safety from LSU.
Jamal Adams.
What do we think about Jamal Adams?
Not sure.
I actually
Well, I
don't know a
even
lot
see him
about
on
that
this
guy.
top list.
Who is he?
He's right there. Or what? Did I miss him?
No, he's not at that. He's not. Oh, he is at the top. Oh shit, he's the number 1 ranked safety. Or no, yeah.
According to
number-
Scouts.com, yeah, it's all.
whatever.
Yeah, everyone has their own opinion, and that's kind of what's hard about these
bad.
drafting things.
They just bounce a lot.
No, he's a great talent, and he could be good. I think
He's a little small for a safety, no?
Yeah,
What is it? What's his measurables?
He's 5'11", 3/4 at 214.
So,
It's short and stocky.
yeah, and safeties are, if anyone's usually that kind of size, it's either running backs or safeties.
Because as much as I like to say I'm 6 foot, I'm probably right there at about 5'11" and 3/4.
It's weird too.
But when
'cause,
I'm
like,
leaving 7-Eleven, God damn it, I am 6'3".
it's kind of odd because
Goddamn right you are.
I feel like they used to want safeties to be a little bit taller, but it's almost like inverting now. Now cornerbacks are kind of preferring to be a little bit longer and lanky and be able to cover a little bit wider, like have more of a range, and then have those safeties that are those big bodies like we talked about, like the Eric Berry type player that's 6 foot, 215 pounds or something, like a hybrid linebacker kind of player.
I just have to lose a solid. Let me see, like 100 and who was it that we were just talking about?
Jamal Adams.
Jamal Adams. I just gotta lose a solid 160. I'm just like this
You're
guy.
right there.
I'm right.
You're
there.
essentially him.
I'm essentially him. We're basically twins.
You're like
There's a picture of him right here.
You're like a few months of solid working out to being that guy.
You'll do that. What's that like secondary combine or something that they do for players who aren't invited to it? Is it a combine or is it like a draft? That's the supplementary draft.
Oh,
That's where Justin will be next.
Hey, I did the high school combine. That was fun.
What we got next
And
up
I just
here?
realized how bad I was at
What was
football.
that? What was that number? Is that the projected pick 6? Yeah. So,
The Los Angeles Chargers, for their first season of being the Los Angeles Chargers, are they sharing a stadium with
They are.
the Rams? That's going to be interesting. But they are looking at Solomon Thomas, defensive end for Stanford.
Yeah, Solomon Thomas, second best pass rusher in this league. It's kind of he's been in the draft. I mean, for the league this year, he's been projected as high as number 2 because he's a great pass rusher. But it's more like a default thing. That's why I think they have Leonard Fournette in there just because of the recent news. But before that, it was Solomon Thomas because I think he is the second best pass rusher in the league or in the draft for this year. So we'll see.
it's not surprising that he potentially could be the second pick rather than a running back. Because like you were saying earlier, those like ground and pound kind of running backs and that kind of offense that's not flying anymore. But you're going to always need somebody who can get after the quarterback or kind of break up that line.
People are high, like people were low on picking running backs in the first round for a long time, and I feel like they're getting high on it again because of a guy like Zeke Elliott. But
Who
I mean,
destroyed last year.
but I mean, Leonard Fournette is a great talent, but he's not Zeke Elliott. So
Quick off topic before. Well, it's relative to what we're talking about. Elliott's obviously a great running back, right? But would he have been that great had he gone to any other team that wasn't the best offensive line in the?
no, I don't think so. I knew he was going to be incredibly successful, but if they didn't have that line in place, they wouldn't be.
So
They
following
wouldn't have drafted
that,
him where
though,
they did.
So following that question, is Elliott that great of a talent, or because of it, or is it that offensive line made him that great, or is he just a good guy and he would have probably done pretty well one way or the other? Probably not as well as he did.
I think he would have done well anywhere, but he wouldn't have had that Rookie of the Year season. He was behind the best line in the NFL, and that's like what I was saying. I just don't think the Cowboys would have drafted him where they did if they didn't know, or if they weren't so confident in the offensive line they already had in place, because they're like, okay, this kid. I think the thing that really got him drafted that high was his blocking ability, really, because like that's one thing that they just always are harping on these days with the fact that it's such more pass heavy, and if you can catch the ball in the backfield and you can protect the quarterback when you need to, then the rest is all just physical talent and instinct when it comes to being a running back, which he already showed he had. So. I think that's what actually got him drafted. But yeah, he would have been, in my opinion, he would have been okay anywhere, but not as good as he was for the Cowboys. That was the perfect fit.
So who we got next here?
Number 8, Christian McCaffrey going to the Carolina Panthers as a running back / wide receiver.
Just talked about him right before we started recording, and I honestly
Honky,
really
please.
like McCaffrey a lot. I like I've watched some of his they've showed little videos of him, like his measurables maybe don't blow everybody out of the water.
The intangibles.
I think it's just because because for a little while he was getting knocked because he didn't bench 225 4,000 times like they want some of the running backs. But what I like about
kind of running back,
no, exactly, and like what I like about him is he reminds me a lot of Jamal Charles, like the way he's quick, he makes quick cuts, he's really quick,
really versatile,
really good pass catcher, and he's almost the exact same size. Jamal Charles is like 5'11", 205. McCaffrey is what?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Wow. I think he's 5'11".
5'11" and a quarter and 202.
So he's almost 6 feet tall, and he's about as heavy as Jamal Charles. So it's, I mean, obviously us being Chiefs fans, I love Jamal Charles, and McCaffrey reminds me a lot of him.
He doesn't have that same kind of speed that Charles had, but few do.
Yeah.
Jamal Charles was an all Big 12 sprinter. he was fantastic, and he has that straight line speed. But McCaffrey's quick and really, I don't know, he's really good in his own right.
I think he's going to end up being, I mean, if you're picked in the top 10, top 15 of the draft, you're not going to be considered a steal, but I think whoever takes him is going to get they're going to get it.
For a while, they had him mocked at the end of the first round, and I was like, God, please just go to the Chiefs.
Yeah, I saw some earlier where he was potentially like the first couple picks in the second round. It's like, God.
He's just done so well with all his workouts that he's made it, like, so people are like, okay, we're going to take you high.
I don't want to think that race has anything to do with it, but I honestly thought for the longest time that he might not be drafted right away as a running back earlier than where he deserves to be drafted because he's a white running back. And I've saw some of the arguments and stuff during the Heisman Trophy, like for last year. He should have won it. It's a joke he didn't win it.
Last year? Yeah, with that 2,000-yard season.
Well, and his all-purpose yards were ridiculous because he also had like 600 yards receiving or something.
Yeah, you're talking about the year before
not this past year, but the year before.
Okay.
Correct, yeah. So 2 years
not
ago.
the Lamar Jackson year, because
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson deserved it this
Yeah,
year.
no, he deserved it for sure. But no, yeah, when it was
the year before,
wasn't it? Who was it that was it Henry that won it ahead of him?
Yeah, I think it was Travis Henry.
It's a joke.
Yeah, it was stupid. Anyway,
Next, we got the Bengals grabbing Derek Barnett, defensive end for Tennessee.
same as the others. It's like the draft is kind of funny because it's always, when it comes to DNs, I feel like, unless they're a run stuffing type DN, it's always just like a list of who's the best pass rusher, and they just go off the board in that exact order.
Yeah.
Like who had the most sacks and who's athletic.
You know, it's one kind of thing I kind of forgot to bring it up earlier is Myles Garrett. Everybody's all over his jockstrap about his like measurables and him being the number one pick. But you know, his worst performance was against Kansas State. He didn't record, I don't think, almost any statistics. He had 0 sacks.
Yeah,
He
but
was
that
just resting up for a real game.
You know, it's always kind of a funny thing with a defensive player, though, because that could have all just been Bill Snyder's game planning. Like, he could have been double and triple teaming him over there.
Didn't do that. I think his name is Scott France. Their tackle just shut his ass down. They never double teamed him. They maybe have done it a handful of times, but I was like, because I was reading a handful of the knocks they had on Garrett throughout the season, and that was one of the big ones was he didn't record a sack or even come close or any hurries or anything against Kansas State's quarterback.
Well, that's a good.
Great for what's his face France, I think, is the tackle.
It's great for his draft stock.
Yeah, shut down the number one potential draft pick. It's impressive.
Yeah, and the second Ohio State defensive back, Marshawn Lattimore, at 10, so that's 2 in the top 10.
Going to the Bills.
The Bills.
I think, yeah, the other one's the cornerback too, and I've seen him.
Another
to the
defensive
Chiefs.
needy team.
Yeah, Bills need a lot, but defense would be a good start.
Yeah, because they don't really have they didn't have too much trouble scoring last year. Once they really just kind of handed over the reins to Tyrod Taylor, it was that offense. I mean, it ran pretty well, but when you can't stop anybody.
Yeah, for sure. The last thing I'd like to touch on for the draft is just are there any players that you really like that you think might go in the first round or second round? Like, I'm actually one player that I'm really hoping the Chiefs might consider, but he keeps like falling to out of the first. But I've seen mock drafts where he's falling in the top of the second round all the way to like mid first round because it's just depending on people's perceptions. But Deshaun Watson, the quarterback from Clemson. Yeah, I feel like he would be a really good person to have sitting behind Alex Smith for at least a year. And Smith has like 2 years left on his contract.
He's a perfect fit for Reed's system too.
Yeah, and he's got the pocket presence, he's got the athleticism when he needs it, and he's got the downfield vision. He's a great talent, and I really hope that they have a chance to pick him. Though I mean, there's been times in the past when the Chiefs have had the chance to pick the guy that I want, and they didn't. And they picked John Baldwin instead.
Which that's one thing with the draft is measurables isn't everything. And probably the perfect example for the history of any draft ever is Jerry Rice.
Yeah. There's like the two
Jerry
extremes. Jerry Rice was the extreme of like he didn't have the measurables, but he had all the intangibles, and he was one of the best of all time. But he dropped in the draft because he wasn't up to snuff measurably wise.
And then followed by the next probably perfect example, Tom Brady.
I was about to say, yeah. Good old six.
Then there's guys like John Baldwin who are 6'4" and run
Freak
like
athletes.
a 4.3 and have a 40-inch vertical, and you're just like, oh my god, there's no way this guy can't succeed. He can jump and run high. And it's like, well, yeah, but he can't run routes. So.
And he's not very
It's
good
like,
at catching a ball.
It's like the Ryan Leaf syndrome.
Yeah.
Was it Ryan Leaf?
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah.
Leaf, yeah.
I'd say if probably another player that I'm curious to see how high actually goes up because the stock is continuously rising is, and it's because I've already mentioned a Kansas State player, is Jordan Willis. He's the defensive end. He was a DN for K-State, and he's like slowly rising higher and higher in a lot of the mock drafts. And it's because if you look at all of his measurables from the combine, he finished like first, second, third, fourth, or fifth in all of the major ones that they look for. Like I think he had the second highest, either the second or first highest vertical, only second to Garrett. His shuttle thing was, I think, only second to Garrett. His 40 time was the fastest out of the DNs. Like his guy's got a lot of the measurables, but I think he's overlooked a little bit, partially because he went to Kansas State, and that, I don't know. That's obviously too. We went to K-State. K-State's not a flashy team. It's not a flashy school, so they kind of get looked over. But I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up getting taken. Like probably he's not going to be a first round guy, but like mid to late second round. He's got the talent.
Nice. Yeah.
Plus, you got somebody like Bill Snyder backing you. That's telling.
Thing.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing at all. Yeah, that would be an interesting one. I think the other person I would have is Dalvin Cook, who's that running back from Florida State.
Yeah.
I actually think after seeing him in the combine and watching a lot of his like just highlights and shit like that, he might be the best running back in this class, and he might not like show it at first, but I think he's really well balanced, and that's really what has been succeeding in the most recent years. And he's a freak athlete, and yeah, I've seen him go to like the Bucks, which would be huge for them. They just got Deshaun Jackson, so to add like a running back like that on top of it would be pretty great.
Well, it'd open it up too. Somebody who can stretch the field out like Jackson.
Yeah, so that'd be really cool. And it'd be big for Jameis, especially because they actually played together for a year at Florida State. Yeah, that's about all I got on that.
Anything to add before we move on?
I'm just hoping that by next football season, I don't work on Sundays.
That would be a plus.